Hello again, everyone. Welcome to week 2. Last week we practiced our lines and our basic shapes when we drew BB-8 and R2-D2. So this week we're going to expand upon our basic lines and learn some advanced. We're going to draw more advanced lines that aren't just straight or zigzaggy or whatever. And we're going to also do more complex shapes. So whereas last time we did, just basic half circles, basic squares, rectangles, trapezoids, this time we're going to turn those shapes into more not shapes you see every day. So more organic shapes, I suppose you would say. And then we are also going to start making some forms on those shapes. So our shapes are going to start to take realistic form. We're going to do that with just a tad bit of shading. And we will do more shading practice when we get to value and things like that. But we are going to do a little bit of form today. So let's get right to it. Okay. So today we are going to draw little baby Yoda. Or as many students have told me, the child, technically not referred to as baby Yoda. But Disney refers to him as baby Yoda, probably to make money. I don't know. But either way, we're going to be referring to him as baby Yoda during this class. So, because that's the name that most people know him by outside of the Star Wars universe. So, let's get started. So the first thing I want you to notice is we're going to learn just how to draw proportion. So proportion is a new thing we're going to look at called space. So our element for today, in addition to line and shape, is going to be space. Space is where those lines and shapes are located on the page, and also how big or small those shapes are compared to other shapes. Another big word for the comparison part is called proportion. So we're going to look at some proportions for this Yoda here. So the first one is, how tall is he? So when you're looking at a picture, most of us are drawing from just pictures we find online or in books. How do I translate the size of that Yoda to the page? So the first thing that we want to do is look at our picture and try to measure if it's a humanoid creature, one that has a head, or even if not, most creatures have something you can measure by. So if we take Yoda's head and we estimate that head size all the way down, as I did on the slide, we've got about 3.5 heads tall. And you can do this with any picture. So another picture here. So grab another picture and give you another. So we have the picture of, let me go get a book. Let's get any book. It's so difficult to find a book in my house. Just kidding. All right, so we have a random book. So I'm going to choose a person out of this book, and so you can see how I do this. So let's find someone here. Here's someone. All right, so here in this book is a boy, okay? If I wanted to draw this boy, say bigger, or make him fill up the page, what I can do is I can, on the page, so you can do this on your computer or whatever, you don't have to actually draw it. I'm just doing this for reference. So I've got my first circle for his head, and I know his feet end right here. So I'm going to do 1 head, 2 heads, 3 heads, 4 heads, 5 heads. So this kid is very roughly 5 heads tall. So, and by heads, I'm drawing these circles. So So however big you choose to draw your circles on your main page is how big your character is going to be. So I measured that the baby Yoda on the reference photo I saw that I've included in this in the classroom was 3.5 heads tall. Okay, based on his head. That helps it when it's done drawing. He doesn't look too stretched. He doesn't look too fat, squat. This helps it be exactly like what I'm looking at. So we're going to go ahead and do that. 3.5 heads tall. So the first thing I want to do is define where the ground is. Actually, let's go ahead and do his head. We'll start at the head. So I'm going to put his head, don't put it like in the middle of the page, do it more towards the top because you don't know how big you're going to make your circles. It's a lot easier to cut off the bottom of paper than it is to add more paper on. So I'm going to start maybe on about 1/3 of the page, draw my first circle here. I want them a little bit bigger. Where's my big eraser? I'm gonna make them just a little bit bigger, mostly for your guys' benefits. You can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger. There we go. So I need 3.5 of these bad boys. These are very light, by the way, because these are going to be erased for sure. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to draw a 4th circle. That was a little smaller, isn't it? But then I'm just going to draw a line in half. That is going to be where he is standing. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and erase this bottom circle, half circle here. So this is how tall my Yoda is. Okay? It's a little crazy. Okay, so when we're looking at this picture here, I would just draw a straight line for the top. So right here, we've got our straight line for the top of his head, but his ears are going actually in an angle. They're not straight, they're actually at an angle. So what I want to do is go ahead and draw a ruler for that angle. So a ruler is just a light line to remind myself that this is not going to be a straight line. I want to draw along that line. So let me tilt this up a tad for you. Okay, so I've got my diagonal line here. Now what I want to do, I've got my main rulers here. So I want to start with this little head. So I'm going to make the circle. So his entire face does not take up this whole circle, okay? We're not going to draw a smiley face or anything like that. This circle includes his face and his neck. So the first thing I want to do is figure out where on my picture are the eyes. And a lot of the times, the proportion of a human face, the eyes are smack dab in the middle. We're going to do the same thing for Yoda. His eyes are smack dab in the middle of this circle here. So I'm going to keep with this diagonal line, okay? Just draw a perpendicular line to it. And then right in the middle, draw another line, okay? Because again, I want it to be with that diagonal. I don't want it to be straight up and down because his head is kind of cocked to the side a little bit. It's not straight up and down in this reference photo. Okay, once I get that where I want it to be, it doesn't really look like it's in the middle right now because I've got some lines on my circle. Okay, once I get that taken care of, I like to go ahead and start with the eyes. So we'll go ahead and do that. His eyes are about, draw some dots here. They're not too far apart, but enough to be about right there. And then he's got these egg type shaped eyes. Bigger at the top, smaller at the bottom. Same on the other side. Big bump on the top, and then a little bump on the bottom. Once I get those in place, just like BB-8, I'm going to leave a little white spot and color all around that white spot. All right. So these eyes are just floating here right now, but we've got two little sets of eyes. Okay, so the next thing we can do is we're going to draw his little bitty nose. I'm going to switch out my pencil for a sharpened pencil. His little nose is right here, a little triangle, just the top part of the triangle, right in the middle there. Two little dots, not very big. And then coming down from there, almost in like, this is a ruler line, so I'm drawing very lightly. We're going to erase these, so you know. We're going to draw just a little squiggle, not a straight line, but like a little squiggle of the mouth here. And then you can erase those two little triangle lines. So I'm actually going to erase the other line as well. So we've got some kind of a face happening here. So to make his little cheeks, so he's got these bright little cheeks that stick out that really define him. We're going to make something that looks very, very strange. So don't be, one thing you have to do is not judge yourself before your drawing is done. Just like with BB-8, one line at a time. Okay, so these next lines that are coming are going to be a little curve. I'm drawing them lightly. A little curve above his eyes. Okay. Now watch carefully. These curves are going to go, it's going to go out to the side of the circle. I'm doing this very lightly, like I said. And it's going to come up, connect with his mouth. Isn't that weird looking? So it's going to be go around and connect with his mouth. I'm going to do the same with the other side. It's going to hop over to the edge of the circle, come back up, and connect with his mouth. What a very strange thing, right? So this is just helping us keep these cheeks in proportion with the rest of his body, the rest of his face. So I'm going to clean the inside of these cheeks up a little bit so you can see a little better what's happening. Okay, so he's got some cheeks, chubby, chubby baby cheeks. Okay, now that we have that defined, we can put a little baby chin, just put a little chin right here. Okay, so that's the main features right there. The last feature of his face part that we're going to take care of is we'll draw a little line right there and draw his brow. So his brow comes out. And goes over. Brow there. Okay, so that's good for that part for now. What we want to do next, along the top of the circle, you can see our circle here. So this is going to be the little top of his head, okay? Actually made that a little too sharp. I want it to be more round. He's not a There we go. Okay. Now, this angle line that's at the top, that's the line telling us where his ears are supposed to go. Okay. So I'm going to make a little dip here from his head and start on those ears. Same thing on the other side. A little dip where they connect, and then draw a line coming out. Now, how long are these ears? So this is another question you have to think about. How big are these ears in proportion to the rest of his face? Well, let's check. So on my pencil, I have this gold part of my pencil, okay? This helps me see things, but not every pencil has that. But I know that it's this long. So if I go over, how long are those ears? Well, coming to the inside, it's about the same exact size as the circle of his head. So that's what we can do, is we can just say, well, it's the same length. So if I say from here to here, that's the same. So what I'm going to do is draw two other really light head circles on either side of his head and draw the ears out to the edge of those head circles. Okay, so my line is going to go to here. This line is going to go to here. Okay, and I'm going to, where am I going to connect this up? Let's connect it to right here, the bottom of this little gel right here. Okay, I might actually want to start there. Ears are different no matter how you look at them. You could look at these ears on one picture and they'll look completely different on another picture, okay? So don't stress too much if you get the curve just right on the ear, okay? Because depending on how the wind is blowing that day or whatever, it's just like hair, you know, if they're gonna be in different shapes. So we're also gonna connect this to his cheek over here. So the same diagonal place here. Go out. I'm gonna give this one a little bit more of a flutter here. Now his head is turned, so this ear looks a little smaller than this one, just because his head's turned a little bit away from this ear. And that's something you'll pay attention to with space and size. Is this ear the same size as that? I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to start at this point now and just come across and down a little bit. So get a little bit of an ear flap here where it's connecting with that outer ring of the circle. Okay. Okay. Erase some circle lines. Okay. You can do some details in the ear if you want. You can put some extra down here, kind of showing the roll around. You can do some inside stuff, some hatch marks to shade. You know, you can mess around with it. Just look at the reference picture that I put in there and kind of see if you can see anything you want to add. So looking at this face, it's a cute little thing. What I'm going to do is we're going to add some shading here now to just show the roundness of his face. Before I do that, from his little chin here where those ears connected, that's where I'm going to make his little neck. Okay, and his neck, of course, is coming to here where we meet the next circle. So where I see this line, I'm going to make little light lines right under his chin. Maybe a little darker as we hit the bottom part right here. It's a little more shaded over here. It's just the picture I was looking at. That's terrible. So I'm looking at two different pictures right now. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to erase where this one connects here. You can draw a little line under the eyes. And then up here is a little shaded as well. So you can look and see if there's any darker places or lighter places or anything you'd like to add in like that. Okay, so that's our basic little Yoda face. All right, so the next part that are the clothes. We're looking at shapes here. So this shape looks like this. Okay, so we're looking at one shape at a time. So this scarf is going to curve around him. Okay, so we've got a little curve of a scarf here. And it's going to come out the other side of his neck. You can make this scarf as bushy as you think it needs to look. And have it coming out more. See how quickly I'm drawing? I'm doing this on purpose. Because if you look closely and draw quickly, your eyes are only going to be able to draw what it sees. If you take too long on your sketches, your brain's going to want it to draw what it thinks that it sees. And you think you know what he looks like, you know. So you might start putting things in that aren't actually there. You can always go back and change proportions and things later. But when you go quickly, it's much easier to get the likeness. So got a scarf, little rectangle hanging down from the scarf. Okay, and then we've got our arms starting here. So what I'm seeing is that the arms and hands go to mid-third circle here, okay? He's a little bitty guy, so there's not a whole lot to him. So his arms are in these big, bulky sleeves. I'm just going to really scratch in his suit because it's so fluffy that there's no need to really get super detailed with it. Let's see. This other one is right here. The more you do this, also, the better you get. So I haven't drawn this since the summer. Hence, it doesn't quite look exactly as polished as my last one did because it's been a little while since I've drawn them. So I just kind of scratched in a little coat there and bring down his zipper. And then for his hand is just a series of squiggle lines. 1 line, 2, 3, 4. Line, line, line. Just some little lines. This one is even simpler. Line, 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 and then a thumb. Okay. So he's just got some little bitty hands sticking out here. You can shave them. Again, I'm keeping mine a little scruffy. You can go back through and change yours if you'd like. But at this point, I'm going to go ahead and erase all of my ruler lines, which my circles, my angles, all that stuff, and get that out of the way so I can see what I have here. All right. Looks pretty cute. Probably could have looked a little more fluffy, but you know, always do it again. Make some scrub, dirty lines, and just in this big, huge wasteland. All right. Well, there he is, folks. And the more you work it, the more refined he's going to be. So this was probably after doing this like 20 times. This was I think my last class of the summer. So the more you do it and the more you look at it, the better that it's going to get. So obviously I have fallen off the wagon a little bit here, but I have not drawn, like I said, this in a while. But if you take your time, you guys have all the time in the world, a little bit more time than I have recording this video. So take your time, one piece at a time. Look at the reference drawing that I've given you, and then stay tuned for your challenge character tomorrow. Bye.